The Los Angeles Chargers just shook the NFL in a way nobody saw coming. A team that many doubted going into the season suddenly answered every single question in one night. The biggest shock came from the trenches, where Joe Alt shifted to left tackle and shut down Chris Jones, one of the most dominant pass rushers in football. That was supposed to be a weakness, but instead it turned into a strength, and it completely flipped the game on its head. This wasn't just a win, it was a statement that the Chargers are built far stronger than people believed. What makes this even more powerful is the timing. Week 1 is when doubts either linger or disappear, and the Chargers erased almost all of theirs. The offensive line, which was called shaky, looked unified. The wide receiver room, which people thought had no upside, suddenly delivered. Even the running back situation, a question that had dragged through the offseason, gave enough support to keep Kansas City's defense off balance. Every storyline that pointed to trouble got flipped upside down. And the stunning part is that it happened against a division rival that has ruled this matchup for years. But if the offensive line proved it could anchor the team, the spotlight quickly shifted to the quarterback who silenced every doubt with his play. Justin Herbert didn't just manage the game, he controlled it, and his numbers told a story that demands respect. The real turning point was not just the passes he threw, but the poise he showed when everything was on the line. And that's exactly where we need to go next, because Herbert's performance wasn't just good, it was the kind that changes how people talk about him. But before we jump into that, hit that like and subscribe button for more Chargers and all the NFL content. Let's aim for 500 likes on this video. The Los Angeles Chargers put the ball in Justin Herbert's hands, and he answered with a night that changed the conversation about him. His line told a story on its own with 318 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions, but the real impact was how he owned the most stressful snaps. Every time the moment swelled, he stayed calm, read the field, and turned pressure into points. This was not noise or hype. It was control of the game at the exact time it mattered most. Here is the twist that tilted everything. When coverage squeezed throwing lanes, Herbert used his legs as a clean counter, finishing with 7 carries for 32 yards and a game-sealing burst on 3rd and 14 that broke the final stand. He felt the pocket, saw grass, and made the choice in an instant, sliding in bounds to close the door. That is what leaders do. When a rival is one play away, they remove doubt with a decision that takes the air out of the stadium. What nobody is talking about enough is how trust powered all of this. Herbert kept firing to the right targets at the right times, and that faith unlocked a wideout who needed a turning point. The shocking part is how that connection reshaped the story of the receiver room in one night. Stay here, because next we are digging into Quinton Johnston and why his breakout may change how defenses plan for the Chargers from this week on. The Los Angeles Chargers just watched Quinton Johnston flip a story that many thought was already written. Nobody expected him to grab the game by the throat and force the talk to change this fast. The twist is simple and sharp. A receiver who heard the noise showed up with confidence and turned a pressure game into his stage. Quinton did not win on one play. He stacked answers all night. He posted 5 catches for 79 yards and 2 touchdowns while showing stronger hands, cleaner breaks, and a better feel for space. The almost third score proved he is still growing, yet the bigger reveal was trust. Herbert threw it with conviction, Quinton attacked it with belief, and that rhythm forced Kansas City to adjust in real time. This might change everything for how defenses line up against Los Angeles. If a young target draws safety help, the field opens in the short and intermediate lanes where timing beats panic. That is where a veteran artist steps in and turns tight windows into first downs. Stay with me, because next we dive the Keenan Allen effect and how his calm timing drives alive when the lights burn hottest. The Los Angeles Chargers just reminded the league what a true closer looks like, and his name is Keenan Allen. In the tightest moments, he found space where none seemed to exist, sat down in the window, and turned timing into points. The turning shot came on 3rd and 3 late in the third quarter when he slipped into the soft spot and finished the drive with a clean touchdown that settled every nervous heartbeat in the building. This was the veteran craft the offense needed. Allen kept the chains moving with 7 catches for 68 yards on 10 targets and added the score that pushed control to Los Angeles. The routes were crisp, the hands were sure, and the chemistry with Justin Herbert looked effortless. What nobody is talking about is how that steady rhythm changes the math on every down, because defenses must honor the quick game and the option routes that Allen runs better than almost anyone. Here is why that matters for everything that comes next. When the short game lands on time, safeties cheat forward and linebackers hesitate, which opens the field for deeper shots and a physical ground attack. That is the quiet edge that turns good drives into winning drives. Stay locked in, because next we break down the trenches and the run game, and how that foundation can carry the Chargers through tougher weeks ahead. The Los Angeles Chargers flipped control at the line of scrimmage and never gave it back. Protection calls were sharp, communication was clean, and the pocket kept its shape snap after snap. Instead of chasing the rush, the front five dictated the rhythm, set the launch point, and let the offense play on time. That is the kind of quiet dominance that turns a tense game into one you can manage with confidence. The ground game added the steady drumbeat this plan needed. Rookie Omarion Hampton gave real value with 15 carries for 48 yards and a long of 11, which sounds simple until you see what it does to a defense. Short gains became makeable downs, play action carried more bite, and Kansas City had to respect the box. The goal was not a headline run, it was control of tempo and leverage, and that is exactly what showed up. Here is why this changes the ceiling. When the line can move bodies and the backs keep you on schedule, the offense stays balanced and the other team is forced to earn every blade of grass. That tone does not stop with the ball, it carries to the other side where discipline and red zone poise decide games. Stay with me, because next we break down the defensive plan, the spy that shut down a key scramble window, and how that mindset turned a rival into a puzzle. The Los Angeles Chargers slammed the door on easy yards with a plan that looked simple and played ruthless. Jesse Minter kept the picture steady, squeezed space, and turned Kansas City drives into long walks rather than sprints. The payoff was control at the goal line and control of momentum, which is why the Chiefs finished with only 21 points and never found a free runway before halftime. Here is where the tone truly shifted. Deion Henley shadowed Patrick Mahomes on the money downs and knifed in on 3rd and goal to stop the scramble that usually breaks hearts. The edges kept contained, the interior closed escape lanes, and the back end rallied to the ball with clean angles. Derwin James set the standard in communication and urgency, and the entire group tackled like every yard mattered, because it did. This changes the conversation from talent to identity. When a defense takes away the quick strike and wins the heavy snaps, the opponent must play perfect football to keep up. Respect to Kansas City, but the dynamic in this rivalry just moved. Stay with me, because next we step into the bigger picture of what this win means inside the division and why the mood around the Chiefs is no longer the same. The Los Angeles Chargers did more than beat Kansas City. They shifted the feel of the rivalry. Nobody expected a mindset flip this early, yet the game removed the old fear and replaced it with measured belief. You saw a team that answered pressure with poise, and a stadium that started to sound like a true home again. Respect to the Chiefs, they are champions for a reason, but the balance no longer leans by default. Here is the ripple that matters inside the division. When a contender trades nerves for calm, every late snap turns into a chance rather than a cliff. The room trusts the plan, the fans lean forward, and opponents feel the weight of longer drives and cleaner finishes. That is how a season builds, not through noise, but through habits that show up in the last 5 minutes when details decide everything. What nobody is talking about is how this tone travels. If that same control shows up on the road, the Chargers can stack wins without chasing shootouts or miracles. The next step is to prove it again, carry the same edge, and force defenses to pick their poison for 4 quarters. Now it is your turn. Drop your player of the game in the comments, tell me the one surprise that changed your belief, and name the matchup you want circled for Las Vegas. Should the plan lean into quick timing or deeper shots, and which defensive wrinkle would you keep for a mobile quarterback? Hit subscribe, tap like, and join the run because this ride is just getting started.